And joining me now, Alice Stewart, a CNN political commentator and Republican strategist, and April Ryan, CNN political analyst and White House correspondent and bureau chief for the GRIO. Hello, ladies. Great to see you both. Let's jump right into it. Let's start with January 6th. Committee members we heard today saying that they could subpoena Ginny Thomas, the wife of Justice Thomas, if she doesn't come in voluntarily. The timeline for producing the panel's final report is ambiguous, we've heard, but still, time is of the essence here, April. And it was like more than a month ago that Ginny Thomas told Daily Caller, I'd be happy to come in and talk to the committee. That still hasn't happened. What is the committee waiting for?
Well, the committee is waiting for her to move, but they will move indeed if she doesn't. Let's look at what happened with Steve Bannon. Let's look at just the methodical information that has been revealed when it came to those 187 minutes. This committee is very serious. I mean, you know, Ginny Thomas said, oh, I wanted to clear up all the misinformation. Well, it's been a month. Where are you? From funding buses to go to, for those to go to January 6th, and also trying to talk to White House officials to begin the process to overturn the election, where Joe Biden was clearly the winner.
Texting Mark Meadows about the election, and there are emails with John Eastman. But the committee clearly wants to learn more. Still no subpoena for her. I want to go to you, Alice. Last night I interviewed retired Officer Michael Fanone, and I asked him if he thought the January 6th hearings are moving the needle for the general public. Here's what he said.
I don't believe it's moving the needle, as people say, with regards to public opinion. I think people are pretty firm in their beliefs as to the justification for January 6th, whether it was a great day in American history or an awful day in American history.
Do you agree with his assessment?
It's true. People have their minds made up on this. Some have moved their thinking of this based on what they're hearing in January 6th, but in some ways it's a Rorschach test. Those that have supported Donald Trump from the very beginning, supported his nonsense about the fact that there was widespread election fraud that cost him the election, and they believed his nonsense that he should have gone down and stop the certification of the election. But what has happened, what we're seeing with these January 6th hearings, there has been some moving of the needle with rational thinking Republicans. Some people at Fox will say we've moved the ball down the field. What we're seeing in conservative news outlets, we've seen the New York Post, which is very supportive of Trump, put out a very explosive opposition page on him, talking about how he was willing to do whatever it took, damn the consequences, to stop the peaceful transfer of power. And even the Wall Street Journal, look at that. The president who stood still on January 6th, stood still and did nothing. And Rupert Murdoch, who is very supportive, longtime friend of the president, and they said, look, when you have a time of crisis, you test your character. And they said that Mike Pence passed and Donald Trump failed. Here's the thing. Many rational Republicans were willing to look past Donald Trump's shortcomings for policy. And they thought, many of us thought he would rise to the occasion, respect the office, and become presidential. In hindsight, looking back, he hasn't done so. He did not respect the office, and he did not engage in a peaceful transfer of power, and he defied the Constitution. So the question now is he the one we want to continue the mantle moving forward? And the question for many is no.
Let me say this, Pam. You know, this last hearing that was Thursday night, many Republicans have looked at the evidence, and the committee was very strategic in holding that hearing in a nighttime moment, so people, the world, could see, because when they start lining up these indictments or referring to the Justice Department who they would like to see indicted, the American public is brought along. And one of the most compelling interviews I had that night in that hearing room was with Texas Congressman Joaquin Castro, who was also an impeachment manager for the second impeachment of Donald John Trump. He said, you know, Donald John Trump left us for dead that day. That is, along with all the other evidence we saw, that's so impactful.
And another component of that, I saw the video, she played it for me before this segment, it's chilling. Another thing that we heard in that hearing was from Mike Pence's security detail, saying that while he was running for cover and hiding, they were calling their family members, giving basically their goodbyes. And while Donald Trump sat in the dining room doing nothing.
They
And that
were
was a
concerned
secondhand
for-
account, and,
Yeah.
you know, we haven't
They were
spoken
concerned
directly
for
to
their
the Secret
lives.
Service there. But yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there was a lot of compelling testimony, which makes it interesting that you had the Murdoch newspapers, the New York Post and the Wall Street Journals with these headlines. But my question is, what about Murdoch's biggest megaphone, Fox News? Do you see them jumping onto that train?
I see one or two of them saying an offhand comment here and there, but overall, this network is supportive of Donald Trump. What is happening, though, is Republicans who are out there running for office and trying to win in the midterms in 2024, they're recognizing the fact there are other people out there that will support our policies and our ideology that do have this conservatism without the chaos and do not have the baggage. And they are supporting them. We're seeing many of them already that are doing tremendous in fundraising. Of course, Ron DeSantis is one. And what we've seen in the polling, the recent Politico poll, Donald Trump's numbers with the base, the Republican base, is around 53% and has stayed that way. But we're seeing people like DeSantis who are slowly inching up. So this did impact his support. And the key is how much will that continue?
But I want to go back to Fox for a minute. It doesn't necessarily mean right now that Fox has to say yes or no, we support him. We already saw in that testimony in the January 6th Select Committee, the latest one, that Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, all of them and others were saying, please tell the president to stop this now. So already, even if Fox doesn't say anything, it was damning to hear those who he's close to, those who he talks to, text messages, phone calls, what have you, they were telling the president to stop themselves.
All right, I want to ask you about something else before I let you ladies go, and that is what's been going on in the House this week. We saw the House advance the legislation protecting the right to contraception, and of course this move comes after Justice Clarence Thomas suggested contraception could be a next target for the Supreme Court. Just 8 House Republicans joined Democrats in supporting this measure. In fact, more Republicans joined Democrats in passing the Respect for Marriage Act, same-sex marriage, than this.
It's all in the details. You look at the polling numbers, 71% of Americans support same-sex marriage, even a larger number of Americans support contraceptives, but the devil's in the details. This legislation does more than just provide contraceptives. Pro-life Republicans are opposed to abortion. We are not opposed to contraceptives, but in the details of this legislation, there is language that provides for chemical abortions, and those are dangerous, and they have had serious medical implications, and you can roll your eyes all you want.
I didn't roll my eyes.
There's more to this than simple contraceptives. There's a lot more language into it, and that's the pushback that the pro-life Republicans are putting in.
Contraception, same-sex marriage, and come October, the next session of the U.S. Supreme Court, they're going to deal with admissions. They're going to deal with race-based admissions. Where does it end? Where does it end?
Well, I would like to think it ends with abortion, because
But I do want to say, I mean, the FDA has said that the abortion pill is safe and effective. And when you look at the rate of potential adverse effects, it's very low statistically compared to all the women who have taken the pill.
it's low, but it's not foolproof, and a lot of
there's no
forced pregnancy.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, Alice Stewart, April Ryan, appreciate it.